We are right back in the saddle. Real Kyper and Bourne show. The Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, and David Sis. Boom. Bah.
I put it in brackets there for you.
I know, I saw that.
In brackets.
Might be your, I don't know, your best contribution so far all season long
my God.
to the programming itinerary.
Good lineup, Kyper,
Nice
what that's
job,
called.
pal. Nice
Thanks.
job.
Thanks, man. Really
Nice
appreciate
job,
that.
all of you, for joining us on Sportsnet 590, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet Plus from 4 to 6. Give us a download when you can't catch us live, and send us those texts, 590. That's why Sammy's here. That's why we hired him, just to read texts.
I thought he was just here for you to be mean to.
No, I love Sammy. He knows that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm bringing you along slowly.
So-
I'm giving you the dressing room treatment, Sammy.
So now
First
that
pain coming.
so now that we follow Blair and Barker every day,
We get our Blue Jay updates.
and I think, well, I mean, you look no further than here for your Blue Jays updates because I watch every single game. And last night, let me tell you,
The mustache man.
yeah, my boy, the babe, Davis Schneider, with a 2-out, top of the ninth, home run to give them the lead, to take them from getting shut out for the second straight game to victory was quite remarkable.
What is the babe thing?
So,
Because he
Is it-
was so hot, everyone was calling him Babe Ruth, Babe Schneider. Babe,
Right.
Yeah,
That's it, eh?
so
that's it.
That's-
Yeah.
I
Pretty-
really believe last night the mustache man saved the Blue Jay season.
To go to the 3-3 now? Is that
Yes.
right?
Can I tell you, Kippy? Love that take.
They
all
lose.
into that.
They lose 1-0 last night.
Now they're 2-4
Full
and they can't
panic.
score. Yeah.
Full panic in this city.
I'm already panicking about it. I think there's nothing like early season baseball because it feels so, because you're used to,
Dire.
you're just used to other sports. Like even in an 82 game season, like you start 1-5, like that's tough to dig out of or whatever. And football, it's the same. It's even worse. Basketball, similar. But baseball, it just seems at the start you're not ready for how long of a season it is, and all these games feel so massive. I've always said that the first series of the year is like the World Series. Like I'm
Yeah.
grinding over these things. And you're right. There's a big difference between 3-3, and they got it last night. I will say I would want to thank Josh Hader for throwing a horrific pitch to Davis Schneider.
Yeah.
83-mile-an-hour changeup right down the middle compared to his 95 at the top of the zone, and he hit it out.
The worst thing for listeners of this show is that we do cross paths with Blair and Barker now, and we're more Blue Jays than Raptors guys. I think I
Oh,
can't speak for you, but I am for sure.
Yes.
I am too.
You know, so now it's just like more investment in that
Yes.
5-minute segment. We come out hot with Jays takes.
I absolutely.
And with 7 regular season games to go for the Toronto Maple Leafs, you're going to get a lot more Blue Jays. I got to be honest with you.
I bring out my computer and I put it on my coffee table and I put the Blue Jays game on whenever there's a Leaf game on. So I'll always have, no matter what I'm watching on TV, I always have the Blue Jays on. I love the Blue Jays.
But we are in our Leaf Edition hour, the Real
Okay.
Kyper and Bourne show.
What do you want to talk about?
Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah.
They're in town tonight. Why does it feel like the Toronto Maple Leafs beating Tampa Bay in the first round last season feels like a gazillion years ago?
You know, I was saying when we first came in here, I watched the Tavares OT winner to end that series earlier today, and it does. It feels like a life ago. It feels like a different sensation because that moment, like remembering how I felt about the Leafs in that moment, was so different from how it went right after that. And watching the celebration, watching Sheldon Keefe, the emotion,
Why are you laughing over there?
Okay.
Why?
I don't want to do this. I don't
No,
want to
do it.
No.
It was just a big breakthrough for this team, and it was celebrated accordingly. It's just a time warp to go back to that.
You want me to
What
say
do
it
we
for
do
you? You're
now?
going to say it yourself.
Listen, if I was a fan of another team
Oh, okay.
and I would mercilessly hammer Toronto Maple Leaf fans about the general reaction to that goal.
Well, I don't think the players, they celebrated winning a series. It was a normal celebration on the ice.
You think?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think anyone scores a series-winning OT winner and goes,
God loves Sheldon, but
So you
they
thought
acted like they
Sheldon
won
was
the
a-
cup.
you
They acted
thought-
like they won the
did
cup.
you-
Yeah, I did. I thought it was a little over the top looking back
Thought
on it.
Sheldon was over the top with his reaction.
But
But
now
it was a natural reaction, and I think it
real.
also, and he wasn't around for the last 19 years where they never had advanced.
Mm-hmm.
But he was carrying 19 years on his shoulders that night.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Well, at the very least, he was
Was it
carrying
19?
a career,
Yeah, I think.
his own career. He was carrying previous playoff losses. He was there for Columbus and Montreal as well.
Yeah.
It was a big
You can also add
breakthrough.
Kyle Dubas and Jason
Dubas also-
Spezza with the chest bumps.
Yeah.
So, but the
It's
thing
a
is,
big moment.
in the moment, I didn't think any of that. The thought never crossed my mind about it being such a huge reaction or
Out
whatever.
of context to go
For
back.
sure. But then going back and measuring it against what's happened since, it does seem absurd. But at the time, it was all good. And
Yeah.
I will say that it sucked so much because of what happened with the Florida series. But like that first round series last year was awesome. They got 3 separate overtime winners. The captain of the team, much maligned, scores the overtime winner, sends them to the second round. Everyone was excited. It was so great. Boys.
It was timely. I thought there was an argument to say that Tampa Bay was better than Toronto
Yes,
that's
in
fine.
that series.
for sure. And the year before,
You'd say Toronto was better.
Which
exactly.
they got the bounces, they got the overtime, they got the comebacks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What were they down 4-1
They
again?
won 3 overtime games.
Yeah.
The
And-
Leafs.
Yeah.
That seems impossible.
And in
And
game,
then left.
game 3, they tied it. Ryan O'Reilly tied it with like under a minute left, and they won in overtime in one of those games. So like, there's just
OT winners were Kerfoot tipped one in, Tavares, and
Morgan Riley filtered
Morgan
from
Riley
the
from-
top left corner, top left blue line.
And it did-
Vasilevskiy was struggling.
Despite their Stanley Cups, it left a really bitter taste in their mouths that the best team did not advance in the second round to play Florida.
Tampa?
Yes.
Whose mouths?
All of them.
Listen.
Stamkos.
Oh, those guys.
Those
on
guys.
Tampa.
Yeah. On Tampa.
Yeah.
Right? They were really, they felt like they were the better team.
The thing is, I don't think they were the better team enough to be like, we got robbed in this series. If they were 51%
They do. They feel like
better,
they got robbed.
well, that's fine.
Yeah.
You're wrong. But,
Yeah.
they're allowed to feel
I'm
that
not
way.
wrong. They're wrong.
Okay, they're wrong. You're not wrong. That's right.
So
I'm talking to Steven Stamkos directly now, who I know
Yes.
watches.
I just, as a bigger picture thing, I can't imagine. Like, think about all the positivity that came out of that first round series. It's like, can we imagine that happened to go to a final, God forbid, or like
Yeah.
a moment that, even a second round moment that sends them to the third round? Like, this city and this fan base is just, there will be no.
And the budget of this company?
buddy, I mean, this show, clearly, like, it's all. I'm a Leaf fan
They're
first.
chartering a plane for us, the 3 of us.
We were
They go
in
to
attendance at the Cup final.
Chartering us to Real Sports? Where are we going to charter to?
Helicopter to Real Sports.
Oh, we're getting like a really good Uber.
We are like the black.
The stretch sedan.
Yeah.
So I just, I'm
Man.
dying for more of those moments, and we're getting close. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's that 20 days or less than that where we're going to be in the playoffs, and there's going to be big moments again. And watching the Habs beat up Florida Panthers last night, and having the Leafs beat them last time, them look like they're heading in the wrong direction. Leafs going up. Got to be honest, for the first time in a while this season, I'm starting to feel a little bit positive.
Oh, he said it. He said it.
I am.
No, listen, I do too. I feel positive.
Give me the cat.
No.
Not the kryptonite.
Okay.
You son of a-
But
That was a
you
perfect draw.
do realize, though, that, and I'm not saying that the Leafs have not, and I'm the first one to say this, that the Leafs are trending a lot better in the right direction than we thought maybe a month ago.
Mhm.
But your overall vibe stems from a league that's less and less predictable here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Leafs are, I think, getting themselves ready for a big fight here, which is great. But you look around what's happening in the last couple of weeks here, and you're going, like, who isn't vulnerable in this league?
Totally.
Mhm.
Totally. Listen, it is a weird year. Seattle won 9 in a row. The Predators went 15-0-2 over 17 games at one point. Like, some teams have got really hot. Some teams have got ice cold, who are otherwise pretty good teams. It's a strange year, and I've said that this can be a year, and I think this should contribute to Leafs fans feeling positively this year more than ever for me. It feels like a weird year where anyone can win. The last time I felt like this, and I wrote this, you can find it on the internet, was St. Louis in 2019. I said going into playoffs that year, it felt like a year. There was no clear-cut team, and some team was just going to be playing the best at the right time. And it was St. Louis. St. Louis got real hot after January 1st.
And I want to be clear that
Samsonov.
I don't think the Leafs are going to beat. I don't want to go out there and have a clip of me being like, I'm confident. But
No, you're feeling more confident than you were.
You got 2 weeks to build that up.
I just think that like watching the Leafs play over the last little while and having the Cats go in the tank here a little bit over the last 10, you got to have a decent feeling with the way the Leafs have been playing.
How are they
especially
not
without
50-50 chance to win at best?
Yeah, especially with all their players that are out hurt in terms of Marner, in terms of Yarncroc, Edmondson, Riley returns tonight, but like
also,
he's been
Kachuk
out.
just got hurt. Right?
He
He
didn't
missed
play
a
last
game
night
after
so,
the Leafs game.
Yeah,
You never root for injuries, but if they're a little banged up, it makes you feel a little better.
For Hagee, I think
Yeah.
done until the playoffs.
So I wish this was all happening maybe like next
a week from now.
But it's okay. So, anyways, a little bit of positivity on a gloomy day.
If the Leafs do advance a couple of rounds here, there's a chance.
Couple of rounds. Sorry, I'll play it out. Sorry to interrupt.
Couple? What's that word mean? Two?
Two.
Oh my God!
If you have a chance, Sammy, for our show to be clipping maybe Paul Maurice and John Cooper
in the same playoff year.
Same playoff year.
No thanks.
Oh my God! To me, I would love that just to see you every day roll your eyes because these two guys are the masters.
Oh yeah,
the masters. Did you get us any good clips from John Cooper today?
I did. I sat down and I went through John Cooper. There's I think a few different versions of John Cooper, and I've listened to enough of them over the years of doing this show that there's normal guy John Cooper. There's with a agenda John Cooper, and then there's mad John Cooper. And it was just normal guy John Cooper today. He wasn't really agenda.
We didn't get any Paul Maurice type, no one's going to remember this game in 2 weeks.
No,
nothing like that.
Well, the thing is, for last year, they knew they were playing the Leafs for, 3 months.
Yeah.
And this year, they know they're not. Like, I think he even says that today. Like, we knew we were playing the Leafs, so we know we're not playing the Leafs. So maybe there's some of that goes into it. But do you want to talk about, do you want to hear his clip on their season so far?
Let's go.
We'll go from there.
Our first Kipper's Clipper with
hold on.
John Cooper. No, clip 2.
Did I put it? Derek, I put the clips in?
Playoff spot's a playoff spot. And it's right now, it's ours to lose. And it'd be shame on us if we don't get in. But these guys have really, in the month of March, have put them in a spot that, maybe March 1st we weren't thinking was going to be like this. So, I'm proud of the guys for what they've done. And, it's every year's different. And, talking about it, I don't know, somebody was, we just played that outdoor game 2 years ago in Nashville. And there's a team picture. And out of the 23 guys, there's only 8 guys left. That was 2 years ago. So there's a good core here, but there's a lot of new guys. And, sometimes it takes a little time for the guys to mesh. But what I do know is when it got time to get going, these guys have kicked it in. And so we still have work left, there's no doubt, but I like what they've done here. And
I like that line about the team pitcher. Now, those 8 players
are all going to the Hall of Fame.
If you were to take those 8 players and the 12 worst players in the NHL, you got a playoff team. Do you not?
Buddy, 100%.
I mean, they are.
They're just all like, those 12 are like seat fillers at the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
When the stars go to take a pee, they just sit there and be quiet.
They're like, just hold the fort till we can get Braden Point back out there with Kucherov and Hedman and the rest of them. We'll be okay.
Like, I look at this forward core, and it's still really good. And like up and down the lineup, they still have
they're
guys
all in their prime.
The thing, but it's the D core. That's not the same as it once was. And losing Sergachev was a huge blow for them, right? But like you look at their D core, it's not the same as it was in years past. But yeah, like they can still score with anybody. They are still elite. So,
which brings you to Vasilevskiy, and I don't know, he's climbing up. His save percentage is climbing, isn't it? Is he at 900 now?
from where he was to where he is now, he's
at 900.
Yeah.
Right at 900.
his last, 10 games, there's a shutout in there, 940, 955, 958, 964. Like there's some games in there where he's played well. There's an 826 in there left out.
What do they have left? Nick Perbix?
What do you mean?
On the back end, outside of Hedman. I mean,
Chernak, Hedman, Darren Radish.
Chernak's
Hayden
hurt
Fleury,
every other game, too.
Matt Dumba, yeah. He is.
Emil Martinson Lilleberg.
Oh, gosh.
That can't be real.
That's a real person. Number 78.
I know I brought his name up the other day, but Ryan McDonough.
Yeah.
That's when
having Sergachev and McDonough, that would certainly change the look of that back end. And also, they had Jan Ruda, who played as Hedman's partner, I think, on one of their cup runs. They've had Bogosian in the past for depth. Like, they just don't have that. So it's definitely an area of weakness. But as we say in the show all the time, everyone in the Cap era has some weaknesses. This team's no different.
A potential MVP this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where this thing's going to end up between MVP and Art Ross, leading point getter in the NHL. But this is a three-man race for the ages here.
Absolutely. Do you want to hear the coach of the Lightning make the case for his superstar to win the Hart?
All right.
Okay. Clip one there, Derek.
It's valuable your team. Okay, well, we played without our starting goalie for, quarter of the season in the beginning, and who carried our team was Nikita Kucherov. And I look back here, and listen, this is not a knock against anybody in the league. Every one of these guys that are in the voting, whether it's McDavid or McKinnon or Matthews, I would take on my team in a heartbeat. But Nikita Kucherov, what he has meant to our team, had you plucked him out, I don't know if we'd be in the spot we're in right now. And so, to me, what he has brought to us it's invaluable. And so I think you know where I stand.
Tied for first in NHL scoring with 127 points. He's seventh, I believe, in goals with 42. I mean, what a season he's having.
He's so much fun to watch, though, isn't he?
He's a liar. I don't trust anything he does. You know what I mean? With his movements and everything.
Yeah.
Like he's
I thought you were talking about the skills comp there.
No. I mean, like his fakes and his leans and his wind up and his everything he does is a bluff.
Last week on his knees.
Mm-hmm.
His face, like right against the boards to point.
Yeah. No, he's an unbelievable talent.
My wife, Allie's going to the game tonight, and she asked me what she should be looking for on Tampa. I said 86. Just watch 86. And
and he's not
really
a guy
enjoy
that would stand out unless you kind of were looking for him and just watching all the little subtleties. He is a tricksy little fella.
Yep. There you go.
All right. So, and also one thing.
Do you vote for MVP?
Yeah.
And
I do.
How would you even begin to pick Kucherov over McDavid or McDavid over Nate? How?
I think it comes down to a point. I look at all the numbers, have watched all the video, have all the opinions, and I really feel like at the end of the day, if you could take one guy's season, for your team, who would you want? Who would you personally want? Who do you think it is? The best guy who had the best season, whatever. And right?
There's no way to break it down.
Well, there's no way you're splitting hairs.
It's
they'll all be on my ballot in the top three. You pick five guys.
What you're essentially saying, it's now going to be like a popularity contest.
I mean, I won't be voting on popularity.
Who do you like? Who's your favorite?
Contest.
Who's your favorite to watch? How about that?
No, that's not. I'm doing it. I will be doing.
Yeah, you are.
What do you mean? It's my favorite. Like I think one of them is cooler than the other guy.
What numbers are you going to break down analytically to pick between them?
Well, I mean, I'll just everything I can find, with and without the other superstars, how they did, and when he was without their goalie. Hold on here, I'm offended by the laugh and stuff.
But I voted too. I was right there with you.
And you voted it. Clearly, this is how you vote.
By the end of the day, who do I like and who would I have as a Game 7 guy?
Well, sure. I guess if your point is, can I, come up with the objective answer? Who's the best guy? No. But if you take 200 people who watch hockey every day and ask them who they think the best guy is,
who's their favorite?
You know who I would vote for?
Whose jersey would you buy?
I'd vote for Connor McDavid. That's who I would vote for.
Sammy wouldn't vote Russian.
Would you?
I
Yes.
know that.
Yeah, I think that's a great
Right?
vote.
You wouldn't vote Russian. What are you laughing at?
No, I
You
would-
just told us every other day you don't want Ovi to break the record.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you're going to pick a Canadian.
No, I think what it would come down to is if I had a vote.
that dude.
If I had a vote, and listening to you talk, definitely I'm not going to vote. But I think it would be how I would do it would be I would look at who's at the top of the stand and who I think is the best player of the three. And a lot of time that would come down to McDavid, and I would probably vote for McDavid every year.
And, I think we overcomplicate it, and that is the question.
Yeah.
Based on this year, who's
It's
the
a lot
best
of
player in the league?
But like a lot of it, there's like a famous story from that Bill Simmons always talks about on his podcast. The 1 year Michael Jordan lost the MVP to Karl Malone because Jackie McMullen wrote an article and it like drummed up the narrative and drummed up the
Yes,
narrative.
it's happening.
And it's like Michael Jordan should have just been the MVP. And it's like, you know who should be the MVP this year? The guy who's going to have 100 assists and is the best player in the league. Connor McDavid's definitely the MVP, but the narrative.
Doesn't LeBron have 4
he
MVPs
should be
in 20
He
years?
should have been MVP for 15 years straight. But it's a weird war that a lot of it has to do with narratives, and that's just the way it is. So,
Yeah.
Should I be offended that you were offended?
no.
I don't know.
We'll get back to that one.
Yes.
We'll talk about that one off air.
revisit that one, yeah.
Okay. Outside of flipping a coin for MVP,
What about Sid? He's about to drag them into the playoffs,
There's
no?
no argument
Okay.
there. No.
Anyways.
But thank you.
Yeah.
I told you guys yesterday, didn't I? I can't count that guy out.
He had 2, and Gino had 2. And God, they're sniffing around.
Okay, we'll get into that a
please.
little later. Austin Matthews, lots to talk about Austin today, chasing 70 still.
Yeah.
We're still there. We're still on this.
There was multiple questions about it.
And where's the vibe going?
So there's 2 different vibes on these answers. So the first one, we'll listen to the first one because he kind of got asked if he's worried about guys really forcing it to him. So I know you'll be interested in the answer to this one.
Yes.
Yeah, so clip 1.
What I've been talking about.
I don't think it's overdone or anything like that. I don't get the feeling of that. I mean, you can see guys looking for him on the ice, but generally it's not a bad idea to look for him. So you gotta recognize that's going to be part of the deal. But you don't want to obviously change your game or change the focus. And that's not the focus for me. And I've talked to Austin. It's not the focus for him. He wants to finish the season strong. He wants to be feeling good. He wants to be, wants to have energy, through this last stretch and going into the playoffs. And that's, I guess, really the goal for our team, is to have our game in order and be as healthy and rested as possible as we finish this last push.
Good answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love for him to not score a hat trick or something tonight where now all of a sudden it's realistic. And the noise gets louder about him trying to do it and whatever. I'm with Sheldon that I just think the time for chasing individual stuff is over. This is year 8 for Matthews now. He's done individual stuff.
And the second clip is a different tone. So I'll let you listen to that Keith clip too, because someone followed up.
I'm not concerned about the 70 goals at all. I'm concerned about having him and our team and ready to go for playoffs. And he's, like we saw the other night, he gets 2 last game, and those are two important goals for us in the game. He's going to contribute that way, and that's what he's done all season for us. He's an important part of our team, but that is not our focus, not my focus at all.
So let me ask you this. I've asked this question before, but it's becoming more relevant, and I'll ask it again. Last game of the season, Tampa Bay. They're heading into that. Austin Matthews has 68 goals. And there's all that talk about the 70 goals. Does he play?
So there's precedent for this. Mitch Marner had 99 points going into playoffs, and they had him rest. And they prioritized him being at his best for playoffs, whatever. I just can't see them then saying, we're going to send Matthews out to chase 2 goals in game 82.
I know what Kyper's going to say to this because I can already tell by the look on his face. But 70 goals is different than 100 points.
Sure.
70 goals
10
is
guys
a
get 100
much,
points every year.
70 is a much more historic thing. And I think Austin Matthews would want to play. And I think it would be, listen to him talk, they wouldn't play him. But like if you talk like
Think it'd
that
piss him
and then
off.
you do play him, It's like it's kind of you're giving mixed messages. Do you think they'd play him, Kippy?
I think there's a gazillion factors between now and then that will come into play. His health, where everyone else is.
Mm-hmm. Do the points matter?
Do the points matter? Home ice advantage. Is it out there? Is it not out there? And I know home ice hasn't been kind to the Leafs over the years, but I'm a true believer. If it's out there, take it.
Yeah.
It's definitely right there for them right now.
Right?
It's there.
So that matters. The look and the feel of this guy scoring. Like, I liked his goals, his last few goals, right? They weren't individual efforts. They weren't him over trying. They didn't have the feel or the look of trying to jam a square peg in a round hole. Mm-hmm. They're just there. Mm-hmm. If there's a current that is taking him there and it feels natural and it's good and it doesn't mess with the overall feel of the team, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But if it starts looking like we're on two different agendas here, then Sheldon has to go to his first agenda, which he just said moments ago. Mm-hmm. Team first, Austin and 70 second.
It actually is shaping up to be a bit of a Wild West duel between what Sheldon says and what they do here.
Yes.
If Matthews gets hot.
Yeah.
Because he's clearly staked out his position on it now.
He's not alone, too, when it comes to what Connor McDavid is going to go through right now to win an Art Ross. That guy wants it, okay? 100%. They're built this way.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. You even hear Oatsy talking about having 97 assists and wanting it.
I've come this far. It's within a grasp. Why do I want to let go of it now? All I need is just one or two more, and that matters to me. Mm-hmm. Okay? I'm the face. Well, then let me be the face. I want to win this award. Mm-hmm. It's there. So there's that element that coaches and general managers and presidents have to deal with here. I got a horse right now, and he's telling me he wants to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't completely disregard it and say, hey, shut up, I'm paying you. You do what I say. That's not the way it works in 2024.
Yeah, you're right. But it should work that way, right?
So what's your plan?
You're hiring someone to play hockey for you to help your team win a cup. If you think this helps you win a cup, you should say, thank you for your contributions to this point. But I know that's not how it works.
So what I'm telling you, it's not black and white here.
What you're saying, he's playing game 82.
No. I think he's making a really fair case about it depends. It depends on how this unfolds.
We got 7 games to go after tonight, do we not? 7? Mm-hmm.
After tonight,
a lot of things can happen in 7 games. Guys can get hurt, losing streaks, right? All of this can happen here. So I don't know. Just all I know is for 2 periods against Florida, it felt really good. The hockey club felt really good. Matthews was scoring without looking like Team A and Team B. Mm-hmm. So follow the current, man.
Florida Panthers toe-picked again.
Yep.
They lose to the Montreal Canadiens last night. They're 2-7-1 in their last 10. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have 76 games played. The Leafs have 74, and the Leafs are 4 points back. So, that home ice is very much there. They do play head-to-head again. Going to be interesting to see if Florida can pull themselves out or if the Leafs are going to finish exactly like last year. 1-2-3 Boston, Toronto, Florida. Is that right?
Yeah.
No, Florida came in as the 8th. Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah. But no, I was going to say that Florida's doing the reverse Florida this year, where they were super hot and the best team all year, and they're getting cold at the wrong time, where last year they were awful all year and got hot at the right time. Mm-hmm. It's like they're doing the reverse of last season. It's almost like they're running out of steam a little bit here, the way they play. So,
you got a good clip on Sheldon Keefe talking about resting guys?
Sure. Let's play it. Clip 3 words.
Well, I think if you just look at how we've handled it the last couple of years, we'll talk about that. This is a little bit different here right now. Like we haven't been able to play with our group very much here with the injuries that we've had. 5 players being out, and they're going to start to trickle back into our lineup. I think having our group in order is important, and the more reps we can get with our power play intact is going to be a priority for us too. So we'll manage all of that, but Austin's minutes have been, I think, in a really good place, and that's important for me. I'm monitoring that. So it's a balance of rest, but also staying sharp, and keeping guys in game mode. That's really important too, because as you know, playoffs are hard and difficult, and emotions are high and all of that, and you don't want to slip too far the other way with having to climb your way back out of that.
Despite the third period meltdown, I guess, if whatever you want to call what happened between them and Florida, it does feel like the Leafs are trending upwards towards being well rested and healthy. And
Matthews has played under 25 of the last 7.
And the Florida Panthers are trending the other way, where they look tired. And I don't know if they're just little rope-a-dope here, but I think their stretch of the last 2 or 3 weeks spells something much deeper than just a team maybe sitting back. I think there's some times when we watch them during that stretch of winning 17 out of 20 that they were like in a scrum every other whistle for like 2 months.
Sam, you coming in and speak, how is it every game?
There was
They had none of that.
They fought every other game. Every other team that they played, they fought physically. They paddled.
Yeah.
Everybody was defending everybody. And now we don't see a stitch of that. And I'm just wondering, do you think like they hit a wall a little bit?
But you know what? They may have, but their schedule plays them, really helps them out, because towards the end, it really slows down for them compared to other teams. They play April 14th. They have one game between then and whenever their game 1 of round 1 is, which is likely April 20th. So they'll play one game in their final week, which gives them a chance to kind of reload a little bit against the Leafs. Yeah. That game is, and likely game 1 is. So they have a chance where the Leafs play back-to-back Florida, Tampa Bay in the last 2 games of the year, which, you don't love, but maybe they'll have a chance to reload.
All right, let's take a quick break here. When we return, former Toronto Maple Leaf Dave Andreychuk, currently VP of Corporate and Community Affairs, and does a good job there down south as a TV analyst for the Tampa Bay Lightning, will help us tee up what we expect tonight from Kucherov and company. All of that and more when Real Kyper and Bourne returns. Welcome back into the Real Kyper and Bourne show. As promised, Stanley Cup champion, Hall of Famer, my former roommate.
Love that.
On the road.
You a good roommate or no?
Great roomie.
Really?
Oh, one of the best.
Wait, are we talking about Andreychuk or you?
Can you back that up, Chucky?
I don't know about one of the best. I mean, I guess. Didn't do much.
Actually,
I did get you up.
He got me up, and he also helped me prepare a post-game tray of food after the game.
Came in handy.
From the meal, from the original meal at around 1 o'clock, just in case there was no room service. How are you, pal?
Got it. I'm doing well.
Give us kind of an overall view from where you watch this team as two-time Stanley Cup champions. The majority of the core guys still there, and it just seemed at a certain point during this season that this was kind of like the forgotten team here, and there was a real threat that they were going to miss the playoffs, and yet here we are 2 weeks out of the playoffs, and there's some teams that might be nervous to play them right now.
Well, I would say that for sure with the experience they have, but it definitely has been an up and down year. I don't think things started off very well. Obviously, you lose your number one goalie. I think that kind of rocked the boat a little bit. And let's face it, just like past years under Julien Brisebois, there's lots of change. Yes, the core guys are there, but he always put pieces around them. And I think it takes a little while for John Cooper to kind of figure out everybody's role, who's going to play, what you're going to do, how you fit in with this team. And that has taken a little while. I will say, as you said, there's no better time to be playing their best hockey is, down the stretch drive here. And that's what they're doing. And I think he's got everybody kind of slotted into their spots. He's got the D pairs that he likes that are playing well. And your goalie's kind of back to, where we all expect him to be. So, yeah, scary team that's going to be a wild card team, maybe.
So you talked about them, Cooper finding where the guys slot into the lineup and how to best use his guys. It's 1 month from the trade deadline. How have the new additions Duclair and Dumba fit in thus far?
Well, they've been really good. I mean, Duclair has been good. He started off with Stamkos and Cirelli, moved him up to, Point and Kucherov, and that has obviously worked. He's got, he's got a lot more speed than I realized. I think he gets in on the forecheck, which helps those two guys, maybe turn pucks over in the offensive zone, and then that's trouble, obviously, for anybody. So he's been a really good addition, and it's kind of been able to move Hagel back down to that line. Now you've got pretty solid scoring lines, no doubt. So that's the one thing. I think Dumba's come in, and we're not the only team, and there's lots of teams in the East that talk about their defense and what they could do better. Sure, we'd all love like 4 guys that are could be on the top 2 on any team, but that's not the case, right? It's you have a couple of guys, and then you've got your other defensemen that are kind of maybe younger and trying to fit in, and now you've added Dumba. I think that has kind of solidified that position, and he's been good. He's been physical. He's played on the penalty kill. He's got some experience, so he understands. And, I think you can attest, Kyper, is that, you come into a team that's had some success. You don't want to rock the boat, right? You just want to fit in, tell me where to go, what to do. You don't want to really do too much, and I think both of these guys have done that.
We're talking to Dave Andreychuk, former Toronto Maple Leaf, Tampa Bay Lightning, Stanley Cup champion, Hall of Famer, helping us tee up the Bolts versus the Leafs tonight. So if we go back to the trade with Nashville, where they brought in Tanner Jeannot, the return that the price that they paid usually is reserved for guys scoring 30 or 40 goals, Chucky, and yet we see Tanner Jeannot in the lineup. This time last year, if I'm not mistaken, he was hurt, and he battled hard to be a part of the first-round series against Tampa Bay, but a much different feel, I guess, going in for his second go-around. Where has his fit been on this team?
Well, he's had a rough year, unfortunately. He's been hurt quite a bit, and that's too bad because he did start to play pretty well there just before he got hurt the last time. And, he's aggressive, obviously. Whatever temperature's going on in the game, I mean, he can control that, right? And I think that's why they brought him in. We all talk about the price that was paid, but I think any GM would have done that if you get yourself to the Stanley Cup Finals. And that's what ended up happening. So maybe in the future you might see a little bit of repercussions, but I think I think the upside is there for him because he's a good kid. He works hard every day. Obviously, he's tough as nails, and he's got some offensive upside to him. So hopefully, it's been a little struggle since he's come back. To get on the score sheet. I think he's still done the things that he does. He finishes his hits. He's going to fight every once in a while. But these games are going to be important for him to be ready for the playoffs. So. It's just another piece, right? It's just that it's another piece from the core that was missing, and they've got it there.
So from every year, from 2016 to 2023, Andrei Vasilevskiy has been between a 915 and like a 925 save percentage, like elite numbers. This year, he's at a 900. Know he missed the first couple months of the season. Tell us about his progression to get to where he is now, which it sounds like he's playing much better hockey of late.
Yeah, he's playing a lot better. Yeah, for sure. I think he put a lot of pressure on himself coming back. He really tried not to have the surgery. And maybe that was a mistake because, this happened earlier in the summer, and I think he tried to play through it. Got some shots, thinking maybe this would go away. And then, unfortunately, they had to make the decision to have surgery, and it's just before the regular season starts. So now he misses 2 months. He comes back, puts a lot of pressure on himself to be who he was. And it was a process, hey, he's human, right? And it was a tough surgery for a goalie to have and come back from. I think the defense has been much better in front of him. The grade A chances have been cut in half in the last month or so. That's helped. But he seems to be moving very well. He's finding pucks. He's obviously an elite guy, and the team has some confidence in him now. So scary, very scary for a lot of teams in the conference when this guy gets going.
So without a guy like Sergachev and Ryan McDonough long gone here, outside of Hedman, where's the weight of the world on whose shoulders? Darren Radich, Chernak, and we're not going to see a miracle coming out of the woodwork here on Sergachev dropping into the first or second round, are we?
No, we're not. Definitely not. You're right. I think he's definitely missed. I think the key guy right here, what you talked is Erik Chernak. Been kind of the top four guy, the shutdown guy. He's had multiple partners in the last little while. Dumba's kind of went in there, and Fleury's been in there with him a little bit. So he's had multiple partners, but that's the guy that hey. Hedman can't be on the ice all the time, right? He's going to play against a majority of the top guys. But a lot of these top teams, Toronto included, you've got scoring on multiple lines, and you need guys to step up to the plate. So it's key that Erik Chernak does what he does. He plays solid defensively, doesn't turn the puck over, makes the safe play. Obviously he's a big physical guy. So, there is a lot of pressure on him now that, Sergachev went down.
One question I do have, looking at this team big picture, they've been so good at keeping all the core guys together. Steven Stamkos is in the final year of a $68 million contract. He scored more than 30 goals already. He's going to have 70, 80 points. How do things sit with him and the Lightning? Do you think he's going to come back? And if so, do you expect it to be a discount from the rate he's currently making?
Well, I think it will have to be a discount just because of the cap numbers, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no, you just see the numbers, and it is what it is, right? Like, you got to sign some guys. When I look at it, there's 5-6 guys that got to sign. There's this chunk of money, and how do we split this up amongst them, right? Mm-hmm. And Steven Stamkos being one of those guys. So I truly believe that they will do everything possible to keep the man here. He's been obviously phenomenal for this franchise. But it probably will be at a hometown discount. And whether he wants to do that or not, right? Like, that will be his choice then. And I think it's been, we talked about it. It's in October, right, was the last time that, Julian Breezeborough addressed it. I'm not sure how it's gone in the locker room or in the Stamkos camp. I'm only looking from the outside, and man, he's playing his heart out. And he wants to be part of it. He's been good again this year. He was great last year. He's been really, really good again this year. So it will be an interesting, storyline, as the season ends and as we get closer to the draft, and we'll see what happens. But I truly expect that that the Lightning will try to keep him as best they can.
One more quick one before I let you go, Chucky, and this one's for our producer, Sammy McKee, whose favorite quote is John Cooper. How's he holding up after all these years? The boys aren't quite completely sick of him just yet, eh?
It's hard to believe, right? I agree. I totally agree. I mean, what I think with Coop is he's just a new age coach, right? He's not a guy that yells. I think they all like him. I think, they all want to hang around him. I think seems like he's one of the guys at times, and he gets them to play. I think he's pretty honest with them. But yeah, it's what an incredible run that this man has had, and he's done a lot of things in our community. Also, he's been a big part of that too, which I think also makes him very well liked. And he's a lawyer, right? Pretty smart guy.
Well, listen, enjoy the game tonight. Have a great call, and we'll see you down the road, Chucky, for sure. Thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, sounds good, guys. Enjoy
Thanks
the
a lot.
game. Should be a good one.
Yeah, appreciate
That
it.
is Hockey Hall of Famer Dave Andreychuk.
Now, Steven Stamkos' year is actually quite impressive. 25th in goals, 40th in points.
I don't see him going
Same
anywhere.
ice time he's played over the last 6 years. Nothing dropped off.
Would you like to know the Lightning's ranks in their last 10 games?
Sure.
Their record, 8-1-1, first.
Yeah.
Their goals per game, 4.2, second. Goals against per game, 2.2, second. Goal differential, plus 20, second. Power play,
1.
35.5, first. Penalty kill, 96.8, first. Team save percentage, 924, second.
Really good test tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Good. Is this the best team in the league all of a sudden?
I gotta
boys?
tell
Like,
you,
Jesus.
I was going back into their schedule so I could be like, they haven't played anyone. Rangers, Panthers, Golden Knights, Kings, Bruins.
Oh my God.
Islanders. Wait,
One of my favorite things that I've seen when it comes to the player interviews over the last few years, and I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but Tampa had a horrible period. Nick Paul's being interviewed maybe by Kyper on Hockey Night.
Yeah, let's go.
And Cooper didn't care one bit. Get in the dressing room, and Nick Paul jumps like
There's no, hang on, Dad, let me finish my game.
Was
It was
awesome.
Just, so yeah.
It was awesome.
I forgot
It's
about that. That was
over.
hilarious. Yeah, that was
Get
fun.
in here. We got some explaining to do.
So there was one moment throughout this year where, okay, we got 2 seconds for this, but where the Leafs weren't trending in the right direction. Cooper and the Lightning, it felt like this was, it wasn't going the right direction, and it was, it's kind of running its course. And
I see what's going on here.
there was a moment this year where I was like, is John Cooper going to be the coach of the Leafs next
I
year?
remember that.
Yeah. I never said that on air, but there was like a moment that I had where I was like, oh, is this?
Buddy, he is a big coach. He wants to coach Canada at the Olympics. He just said recently that
No, he talked about it today. He said he'd love to.
waiting for the calls, basically, and if he can get it. Were that situation to ever unfold perfectly, I'm sure he would be eager to. Our show would do well with Clipper quotes.
Going from Clippers from Keith to him would be quite a difference.
Different, yeah.
Different time.
Well, different because Keith will lay it out pretty bare most of the time.
Yeah.
Cooper's tricky,
Anyways.
tricky.
Yeah, he's 1 or 2 steps ahead of everybody.
There's somehow fine print in his words. What did he actually
you got to read
say
between
there?
the lines. Yeah, for sure.
Listen.
Listen.
He is condescending as hell.
Absolutely.
All right. Our thanks to Dave Andreychuk for joining us. And in the next hour, our good buddy PJ Stock is going to join us.
Finally tracked him down. Busy
Where's
man.
he been?
Busy man.
Oh, he isn't not that
No,
busy.
he's in Montreal, and we don't follow Montreal because they're not very good.
No, I've been
Find out
texting
if
him a
he-
lot. He said he had a beer
Maybe he
league
just
game.
doesn't
He
like us.
said he had a beer league game. He couldn't make it.
We'll find out. Plenty around the league to get into with PJ Stock, including the Vancouver Canucks. Not a very good. There's some good losses, I guess, this time of year, but I don't think that was one of them against Vegas last night. It's time running out on Vancouver to turn this thing around before Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll ask PJ Stock next when we return on our National Hour for Real Kyper and Bourne. Back after these words. Time to kick it into gear on the Real Kyper and Bourne show on the National Hour. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. This hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in PJ Stock. He's almost Doug McLean-like, where you just start him, and then we can go for a coffee or, grab a bite to eat.
Also really fire any direction. Pick a team, pick a topic, and they've got an opinion, which I enjoy. So looking forward to having him on. He's been very busy with beer league hockey, but we did get him today.
Is that what
Thanks,
he said?
Peach.
He's
or are we
busy.
just assuming?
No, he said the one day he couldn't come on because he was playing beer league hockey. So
Okay, that's a good reason, isn't it?
Legit.
it is. But would you play beer league? Either of you guys?
I do not.
That doesn't seem like a place for a former pro hockey
I
player.
gotta be honest with you. The older I get, the more my Thursday mornings feel beer league-ish.
Yeah, it's not.
For me,
But you're not-
anyways.
but there's no refs out there. Not playing against some guys from North York.
No.
Yeah, that's
Is
what
that
that's
we
what I
need
do.
to find out if that's what Peach is doing.
That's
or
what I
not.
do. Anyways,
Tons to get into, including the Vancouver Canucks, who lost again last night to Vegas. And
Yeah.
this one, was out of reach early.
It was. Yeah, kind of a little bit of a stumble here for the Canucks. They've lost to Vegas, Dallas, and LA in the past week. Those are good hockey teams I just named. They're not exactly dusters. So I don't know. Are we worried about the Canucks a little bit?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's worried, meaning if they lose in the first round, it means that it's a horrible season, or,
It'd be a disappointment at this point, Kip.
well, yeah, I get, but think about where you thought you sat in September with this hockey club, and I don't expect them to go down quietly in the first round, but if they were to lose, I think the only way that you could actually feel good if you're a Vancouver Canuck fan is if you saw them go down with a true fight.
Nobly.
well, I mean,
No.
they're going. If the playoffs started today, they got Nashville.
Yeah, they're going to have 110 plus points this season in all likelihood. If they lose to the Nashville Predators in round one, I'm calling it a disappointment, maybe
yeah.
a failure.
Well, I mean, listen, there's a ton of Vancouver fans listening in their cars right now, driving around, being like, "Yeah, we're not going to say, hey, it was a good year. We thought we were going to suck."
Yeah, I know where they came from. I know.
Yes.
But
you forgot
zoom
that.
out. It is a success in the progress of the team and all that. I get it. But, I mean, we're talking they're ahead of the Oilers. They're ahead of the best teams right now. There's no reason to think it's okay to just go away quietly.
We have a clip from Talking post game. Do you want to hear that?
I'd love to hear
Okay.
from the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, Rick Tocchet.
It's in there somewhere.
No?
No,
Rick Tocchet.
Rick
please.
Tocchet, the coach.
The
I think
coach.
he's on a bathroom break.
Okay. Anyways, he was talking. I can't even really remember what he said.
Must have been memorable.
No, it was a good clip,
He's a
but-
good quote. What are
Yeah,
you talking
I
about? You
don't
can't
know.
remember.
It's just,
Was there any sense of we're running out of time here to turn this thing around at all?
kind of. That was the question. That we got to get it turned in the right direction in a hurry, sort of thing.
They just need their goalie back, too.
well, that's a huge part of this.
It is.
I mean, he's one of the best goalies in the league. He was one of the Vezina favorites for a while.
Yeah.
It's just, you need him in between the pipes. So, yeah.
Absolutely. The other concerning thing is that Vegas really is coming on strong. I mean, they are starting to find their form and they're looking as legit as they come. So let's get to Peach.
All right. Fresh off his run with the beer leagues. Let's welcome in PJ Stock, former NHLer, Habs, Bruins, Flyers, Rangers, and the true star of Hockey Night in Canada, once upon a time.
Once upon a time. It's good old days.
You keep in touch? Do you, would Elliot Friedman be like a pen pal with you? Do you guys write to each other?
Yeah, they kind of, it's now I got to go through with all the new layers of people running stuff there. You got to go through certain people to get to Elliot. Elliot saw him the other night. I think he was on the way to take his yacht in his outfit that he was in with the pink jacket.
Is Elliot now one
like
of
the
those
jacket.
guys that takes a picture of himself and posts it on Instagram? Is he
I
turned
love it,
into
though.
that
I
guy?
don't think so.
I hope so.
Then
I
who
love it.
took-
It took a long time to get him to that. Do you guys know, you guys remember, by the way, how social media is right now compared to when we first started and
Yes.
it was just Twitter And just like there were so many people that thought they could say anything to any of us, and just with no faces and having like an egg as their avatar.
They still can.
They still can, but I think our skin is thicker now, right? I think you go through the initial shock of like, how could someone say, I'm just up here, giving you what I think, and I'm trying to be fair to everyone. And when I was on, I never really knocked anything besides work ethic, because I can't tell you how someone's missing a shot, or if some guys, I can tell you why this guy's cheating or how this play broke down and why, and that's kind of what I had. And there's still some people that I'd say something about Kovalev, who was playing for the Canadiens at the time, or don't want to bring the Vancouver Canucks people into this because they go absolutely crazy. But you say anything about a fan base, and you're saying it in a certain way just to be honest, and this is what you saw, and this is what you're paid for. They would send the meanest of mean tweets about. I can't swear, but I have some great ones that are just like. And when it got to a point like, where people would say things to some of us on with Elliott and Kelly back in the day, Glenn Healy, and just everyone, Kyper, you and Bourne, and this, people would think they could just, we're in a world where people can just feel like they can say whatever they want to us. Now our skin's a little thicker, and now we laugh at it, and we're like, "Oh, this is a good one." It's actually pretty funny.
JB, you showed me a doozy one today.
I showed one yesterday. I'd said something about Nylander, and someone called me a drunk ECHLer, and I was like, "Yeah, this is just the world I live in." But you're right, you come to expect that this is just my new normal now.
And, it used to be. I don't think some of my bosses really understood this back in the day. Is that if people are willing to take the time out of their day. Mm-hmm. To send a mean tweet to you, that's almost more important than the person that's going to send a nice one. Because if they're so built up that they're spending the time and energy, and they're reaching out. Like you've touched them to a certain point. I think bosses think you're like, oh no, you can't say anything bad about the Toronto Maple Leafs, because then they're going to think differently, and we got to be. So no, sometimes you just got to throw it out there, and if someone's going to be, I can't believe he said that about Nylander, I'm going to send this tweet. What does that guy get out of that tweet? Really,
it's like taking hot air out of a balloon, right? They can't yell at their boss, they can't yell at their spouse, they can't yell at their kids. It's you, my friend.
I know, but it's great.
That's the purpose we serve, then so be it.
But if you're able to get a reaction from someone, that's a win. If you're able to influence the way the rest of their day is, positive or negatively, I mean, that's life. That's reality. I think that's a win. I think, I mean, I listen to you guys, Bourne, like you're the brains to this every day. And you're on with Kyper, right? And sometimes you got to deal with Kyperness. and you're like, oh, how am I going to do this? And you go home and you're going to write him something. But I think that's what it is. And I can only imagine what you guys are, what the Leafs are, which there always are. It's going to be, we're big game tonight against Tampa. I watched them play the other night. Who's going to win the MVP this year? There's so many discussions out of Toronto, and if you say anything kind of the wrong way, it's a strong-minded fan bases, which isn't afraid to tell you what they think.
Well, quickly then, go ahead.
No, you.
I'll get your thoughts on, the fan base in Montreal is also strong-willed, if you will, and can be very vocal. The Habs are kind of winning. They are on a good little run. Slavkovsky's become like a guy. Where are things in Montreal? We don't check in often, but we're checking in again to see where things are.
No, we don't check in at all, except when you're on.
There's no paying the bills. I cleaned up. I dusted the pictures in the back. I keep dusting them every week, waiting for the call back. But my Habs stink right now, except for the time when they should not be playing well.
Right.
They're playing well, and it's kind of stuck. And I was a little frustrated last night, especially. They had 10 minutes of power play ice time. Their first power play played 8.5 minutes of it. And not only that, at 5-2, they put them with 3 minutes left. They put them back on the ice for another power play. Matheson, in a game where you want to lose, but you want to win. I think there's so important in the phase of building structure and a basis. And if we're going to lose, we're going to lose the right way and playing the right way. And you guys know all those important foundations for a team to be successful. And some of them are small, and a lot of people just think of the wins, but it's not. There's so many of the little things that are important underneath that get you to that top part. And I don't like the way some nights go. Like Matheson played almost 30 minutes last night.
Jeez.
Like he played 28-43, I think, in a night against Florida where you want to win, but at the same time, organizationally, you kind of want to lose, but you're missing an opportunity. They were shorthanded, I think, 6 minutes, maybe more than that. But Arbor Jacka, I think, played 17 seconds, something like that, of shorthanded time. These are moments that you can't get back of learning for some of these young kids. Because if you make the mistake, you can come back to the bench, and then it's a learning. It's a lesson. But it's hard to digest the lesson just by watching it. You have to be in it sometimes. And I think they're valuable minutes. Like Matheson, I'm going to be off in the seconds, played 8 minutes of power play time, 4+ minutes of penalty killing time. At 30 minutes he played, so 28, 40 something. Yeah. Jack Guy played 17 seconds of those he's going to grow into be your 5-6 penalty killer, shot blocker. Yeah. These are the moments where you develop, you learn, you experience, you make the mistakes, you come back to the bench, and the coach is like, hey, it's all right, kiddo. Let's get back out there. Just you learn from that, build that confidence, and it's okay for the next shift. Where if it happens in a real pivotal game and you can't put them back out there because you're nervous, you're not sure how the kid's going to react, that's kind of, we're losing those moments. So fan base in Montreal is really excited. They won last night and they showed some great things. Slavkovsky, again, great point. Suzuki over 70 points, first one since Domi did it about 5 years ago on his crazy year that he had. But the top players are having their great moments, so the fans are excited. I just love to see people off that top line have success, because that's going to be the future of the team as well.
Okay, let's just want to just stay one more on the fan base, because the patience that they've shown this organization is nothing short of miraculous, especially when we're talking about the storied franchise in the history of the NHL.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I got to stop you.
Why?
You're seriously talking about the Habs were in the Stanley Cup final like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. They had 2 bad years. And by bad years, they finished last, got first overall pick. Their first overall pick that everyone thought was a terrible pick just broke a record for the youngest 19-year-old, 20 and under player consistently to have points in 9 games. It's 2 years they haven't had a lot of fun.
This is 2 years of the longest stretch in the history of the organization that nobody cared about the Montreal Canadiens. Nobody thinks twice about that for 2 years.
Not caring.
Listen to me.
Sitting here in my basement waiting for me to tell you about the Habs that are right up here. There's lots of good things.
I'm telling you, but from a league-wise perspective, it's no different than putting the New York Yankees, don't try not talking about the New York Yankees league-wide for 2 years. Okay, that's the equivalent to what the fans are going through in Montreal. They are irrelevant in the big picture of the NHL while they wait quietly to get their team back to respectability. I'm asking you, when the patience do end. When do they go, now we're back, we demand a playoff spot?
It's been 2 years.
Does 2 become 3?
The new organization has been there 2 years. They went to the Stanley Cup final a couple years. When was the last time the Leafs go to the Stanley Cup final?
Don't do this, PJ.
I'm just saying.
Don't do this.
I'm just saying it's 2 years. If anyone is going to be saying anything, I can't believe you guys still do this. I deserve, you guys deserve an award.
The Yankees, the Lakers, the Montreal Canadiens should never sit at the bottom of any pile.
They won't. They are for a couple little salary cap has changed
couple
the way things
little
work
years.
In sports. Yeah, but it's a couple years. The salary cap has to come in, revamp, and go change back up. I think Kent Hughes, Jeff Gordon, the team has come in and decided, listen, Marc Bergevin gave out some contracts at the tail end of his run here that I think really set the team back. And if this was any other time, you can easily flush those contracts, put them in the minors, do whatever you want with. They lost Shea Weber to injury, Carey Price to injury. They had off-ice issues with Jonathan Drouin at the tail end. They've had all kinds of issues that they can't actually control. They decided to change their coach, change their organization. And with 2 years, they picked up a first-round pick, first overall, that has rewritten history for the Montreal Canadiens for a 20 younger guy, which is making them look great. They just signed a goalie that just got player of the month for the team. They just have another guy that had one of the most saves, stolen games or saves, I forget the stat, in the National Hockey League for the Canadiens. They have a younger goalie who just set a record for BC in nets as well. That's just on there. Their back end, Ryan Becker has come over from Europe. He's playing great. Goulet's been sensational. Matheson's having a great year. Arbor Jackey's hurt his last year's. They're all new kids, 20 or younger. Up front, they got Slavkovsky, the young kid. Suzuki's at 70 points. Caulfield struggling this year, but still in the 50s in points. Okay. There's a lot of good things.
Are they making the playoffs next year?
That's the question. I'm not.
I eventually got there.
Year. Let's talk about it next year.
Yes, let's.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Well, I have a question, though. If they make the playoffs and lose in one round, is that a win?
100% it is. To now crack a top 16 in this league, it's an accomplishment. It's a good regular season, man. It's good 82 games.
It is interesting with, so many teams, what they set their goals at and this is what we started off with. The Canadiens, the coach, Marty St. Louis, he just wants to win. So he's playing Matheson 30 minutes. He's playing his number one power play. The organization wants them to
They need to
well.
put Marty in the press box like they did Torts at the end of last year.
Yes, they do, because they want a better draft pick. They need another Slavkovsky. They need another player that can be impactful, because of they got rid of so many players over years. There's nothing in Laval, and no disrespect to the players there. There's not players that can make that jump to Montreal just quickly. They have a young player, Jonathan Roy, who's one of the only guys, but they wanted to send him back to Laval because they want Laval to make the playoffs. If Montreal's done, 8 games left. So when they're done, their season's done. But there's this opportunity in Laval. They can play 20 more games. And that's where this organization is. They're building from their base and has to create that in Laval. And it comes with games that mean something. The Canadiens been out of it for 2 years, to Kipper's point, rah. And they're 2 years of out where they're playing in no games with meaning. So it's easy to get points. It's easy to cheat offensively. It's when you're playing in games where I can't make this play, I got to block this shot, I got to back check harder. And if I don't, I think that's the part of the culture that's important. It's about losing the right way, building these blocks of how you're playing. And it starts through the entire organization. For the first time, Kyper, in your point, in your argument, which I disagree with, the fan base understands what had to be done.
Yeah.
And I think they do have the support, because the Montreal Canadiens, in their losses, 85% to 90% of them, they've gone down swinging.
Well, they're going to finish the season in the low 70s in points. The cutoff for playoffs this year is 90. 90 points likely gets you into the playoffs. There are 5 teams tripping all over their untied shoelaces trying to get to that finish line. Are you watching this absolute snail race to the Stanley Cup playoffs? What are your thoughts? You like Philly with Tortorella yelling at his team? You like minus 40 goal differential caps? Who you got?
It's interesting, the Tortorella thing for me. I like Torts, but at times I don't like Torts, and he just has us all kind of stuck, right? And when they lose, it's never a compliment to the other team. It's always something like a fault somewhere, right? And it's hard, because you hear so many players say so many great things about him, and I want to like him so much, but when he did what he was going to do, to Couturier, it was going to go 2 ways. The shock value was going to work, but how long would it last? And unfortunately, I think it's kind of that in the locker room. I don't know. You knew it was going to go one of the 2 ways, and it's unfortunately 5 losses in a row for a team that, if they're in, he's up there for Jack Adams. Like that's the Tort effect. Like you want him to do well, at the same time you're like, oh, why'd you do that? So
Jack Adams are getting fired. One of the 2.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what you have to do, right? I think I don't know if that room can continue with Couturier and Torts over the summer, and that's been kind of his MO. He gets you to the top, and then some people don't love the way you got to the top. and it's not fair, but that's kind of the world we live in. Patrick Waugh for the Islanders, they bring him in. There's a team that's kind of they're a little older. They want to kind of get there, and I don't know if they have the pieces. And I don't think Detroit wanted to get to as close as to where they are just yet. But Stevie Y has turned that into a competitive team right away. So I'd love to see Pittsburgh in there just to give Crosby his for the year that he's had. At the same time, I'm not a fan of the Erik Karlsson signing and what they're trying to do with that as well, and getting rid of Gensel. I don't care who makes it in. It's going to be a quick series, I think, if they have to play one of the teams at the top.
Yes, sir.
Coming off a tough loss in Vegas, the Vancouver Canucks are in Arizona tonight. I think you hope an easier 2 points to get them back on track here. But prior to you coming on, PJ, we're having a conversation on success or disappointment. I don't know. Getting out of the first round for Vancouver, where does it sit with you?
First of all, the teams this is the machine of the West. You guys mentioned the teams that they lost to. Whether it's Dallas, whether it's Vegas, it's a tough conference. Like the teams at the top are machines, and teams even at the bottom, LA's just holding on there. And I don't think you want to get stuck with them. Nashville, ripped off 10, 11, 12 games in a row there. It's a real tough conference. I think Colorado, Vancouver, it's okay. Well, that's 6 games left this year, 7 games left. They're still there. It's just they got to start getting back to playing the right way. Do they have the grit for the playoffs at their star level players? Is Pettersson good for 4 rounds? Is Hughes good for 4 rounds? Are some of those star players that aren't built as big as some of as thick as a Crosby, as a Carpenter, as an Ovechkin, as McKinnon, are they capable to make this run and understand what you got to go through to get there? I'd love to see that organization have a pretty good run. I love what they've done, and I love what the coaches stood for all year.
Yeah. So they're stumbling a little bit, but still have
yeah.
It's been a good year. They've still got a lot of pieces. The Jets are also stumbling a little bit. Does that leave Edmonton as Canada's best hope in a Stanley Cup this year? They're going to draw right now. It's Vegas, which is not a fortuitous bounce.
I think any one of those teams in the West is I like all of them.
Yeah.
More or less. They're built playoff wise, right? I think they're all kind of thick. It's funny. You guys eliminated Toronto from that, I can't believe that. I wonder if the bosses are going to call you guys. I'm just going to say.
We have a whole hour we dedicate to that conversation.
Okay. But, I think they got to beat each other up. That's the problem. And my concern for Edmonton is they are a little dirtier. They are a little bit grittier, but are they gritty enough for 4 rounds of these playoffs? And McDavid has had a better year. I thought they picked up there's a high flying offensive McDavid, which everyone loves. It's just fun. It's like watching a Top Gun movie. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
But that doesn't win in the playoffs. And that's the part that you need. If he's going to still play that way, which he's changed it up a lot lately, everyone else's supporting cast has to be ready to help fill in those voids. So I don't know. I think Winnipeg is almost built a little bit more because you start off, goalie's going to steal you a game, maybe 2. I think of the goalies, I think I'd give Hellebuck the nod, I guess. And then, I think is Connor and the top end talent, which gets their offensive calls in the regular season, going to get them in the playoffs. Every round that we all know it gets a little bit more rugby-ish. And are they able to get there? And that was my concern about the top players in Vancouver. So if Winnipeg gets in there, I think they can make a splash just by how thick they are and how big they are. And I think, a Sean Monahan type of nothing flashy, but that's how a playoff player is going to be. There's going to be small spaces, not a lot of run and gun. It's going to be ugly. And I think Winnipeg, because of Hellebuck, can make a pretty good splash. But it's a great year for the West. Winnipeg, Edmonton, Vancouver. Fortunately, they got to knock each other out to get to the top.
You just saw Florida. Are they in a bit of trouble here?
Well, missing, they're missing Kachuk. Missing Kachuk. I think what's his name went down last night as well on defense.
Ekblad.
First round pick. Ekblad went down. They're a team that, at the top of everything. They're almost top in almost defensive category. And last night was just not their night. They played the night before against you guys in Toronto, and I thought they got down early and they fought back. And then they came into Montreal and just nothing was going well. And they just decided, like, listen, we're gonna win or lose this game. We are where we are. They even had a couple minutes left to go in the game. They could have pulled the goalie and they didn't. They just kind of said, let's take our lumps. Let's, we're missing some bodies tonight. There's no use pushing the envelope for something that if we get the point or don't get the point, we're pretty much in the spot that we're in. Yeah. Let's just take this as a lesson, get on the plane, go home and recoup for the next game. So I actually quite, I'm thinking to myself, why aren't they doing this? And you take 2 seconds and it's the bigger picture. The bigger picture starts in a couple of weeks. And I actually appreciated it after. And I also, this is just me, and I said this before, the Canadiens were up 5-2. They had 3 minutes left, and they had like 10.5 minutes of power play, and their number one power play played about 8 minutes. It's kind of at 5-2. Do you have to put them back on the ice? Like, it's almost a little bit of a kick in the no, I don't know what you guys are allowed to say, shin. And so what do? Florida's like, you know what? We don't care.
Yeah.
And they just started slashing guys. They just started like, hey, you want Matheson at 30 minutes to carry the puck up the ice? How's this on your hands? Bump. And that's kind of, there's lessons for everyone in there. I think there's a little bit of a lesson for Montreal there. I liked Florida's response. At the end of the day, they are built for as I mentioned, the teams out west, they're built for a 2-month grind. They're built for a 2-month grind. And that's, as I'm making odds here with our Quebec lottery system, guys. Oh, how am I? Because Florida, as of right now, is going to start off against the Leafs, and it was a great game. Matthews on fire, things were clicking. If this is going 7 today, are we confident that Toronto has a chance to pull out of it?
I don't think you are.
Well, first of all, I'm just grateful when you spoke of the Toronto Maple Leafs a second ago. You didn't refer to us as you guys.
Yeah, he did. We us a couple times.
I just want to remind you that we don't play on the team. We're not actually members of the team.
Why?
I get reminded that sometimes.
I'm going to Twitter the moment this thing's done, and I'm going to let you guys know. I'm the guy with the egg, by the way. That's going to say you guys suck.
JP Stock with the tweets.
Our skin got much thicker after talking to you today, for sure.
I'm here to help, guys. Anything I can help.
Buddy,
by the way, if anyone has to tweet me, it's Elliot_Friedman at sportsnet.ca. Let me know your thoughts.
We'll pass that along.
Awesome stuff, Peach.
Thanks,
Cheers,
PJ. Appreciate your time, man.
All right, buddy.
Bye, guys, always.
PJ Stock out of Montreal. We spoke Montreal Canadiens today.
We did. And
loved the convo.
For first time in like a long time. And my point is we got to get back this story franchise to the point where they're relevant again.
Matter.
Have to matter.
Yeah, it's just
they are like the New York Yankees. You cannot just sit and watch.
But he's right. You have to bottom out to get to matter again. And so they bottomed out.
Why? Why do you have to?
Oh, at least they bottom out. They get Matthews, and all of a sudden they can
Rangers
again.
Didn't bottom out, and they're the number 1 team in the league.
They're an anomaly, though. I mean, look at the Blackhawks or the Penguins and how they won their cups on the back of number 1 picks.
Everybody can stay on the backs of number 1 picks, even in the non-cap era.
Not your Rangers. Yeah, not your Rangers. Lafreniere. There's one.
They can always put their feet up at night and put their little nightcap on and have a little sip of something cold and just say that they beat the Leafs, come back 3-1 when they were heavily underdogged and they went to the final. Like, that's something they'll always have. Even if they suck for another year
also
or whatever.
24 cups or something
well,
like that.
I mean, yeah. But it's been 30 years since any Canadian teams won the cup. It's almost like it's never happened. It's been so long.
Yeah.
But that really does burn. And I know that, like, I have a couple of Habs fans, buddies, you know, that they don't let me forget.
Yeah.
Right? It's a big thing. So, anyways, they'll always have that.
Good to talk Habs.
Game time after the break.
You got her, Kyper.
All right, and then we return. Like
More torts.
oh my,
Torts.
death, taxes, and torts.
That's the way Torts likes it.
Guaranteed on this show. All right, that more when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. The Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sam McKee. Back. So I just want to pick up a little bit off of our conversation with PJ Stock, which I absolutely loved.
Yes, me too.
Wish he wouldn't play so much beer league hockey so he can come on our show a little more often.
I like anyone who will yell at you.
But he's really in that kind of Doug McClain kind of realm where it's like, I don't know what he's going to say.
That's your highest compliment to give people.
Really?
As a guest, to me.
Yes.
If I ask you who you want to get on the show, someone you're not sure about is your favorite.
But, and I totally get what he's saying on the Montreal Canadiens. Be patient. You're grooming these kids. You know, Nick Suzuki's going to be the captain for the next 10, 15 years. Slavkovsky is coming around big time. Could be a big power forward.
He's almost got 50 points.
I know.
Sam's giving that a thought.
You
can't expect more than that for a first overall pick.
He's 10. Give him a minute.
The thing that I ask you guys is in the next year or two, who's coming out of the playoffs in the East so Montreal can get their playoff spot next year or the year after or the year after that?
Yeah.
Now we're at 5 years.
Yeah.
So who's coming out? Who's trending downward?
Well, it's
Washington and Philly.
Oh, so you're saying for like a wild card spot?
Those would be the only
saying
team.
Like in the Atlantic.
But
here's the problem.
Here's the but.
Ottawa and Buffalo.
No, hold on.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah. No. It's like, okay, then Ottawa's not taking that spot. Buffalo's not taking that spot. Montreal is.
Well, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs for 100 years. So you're talking to the wrong guy. That's not the argument I'm making. They stink.
I look at where the Sens are at and where the Sabres are at, and I see more pieces for them to get better sooner, right? The Sabres missed playoffs by a point last year, had a down year this year.
Jersey's a Markstrom trade away from going back to the playoffs next year.
Yes, very much so. They had 113 points the year before. Before everything tanked. I mean, the key players on Tampa are still there. The key players in the Leafs will be here for years. The key players in Florida are going to be around. Boston might get worse.
Good goalie, good decor.
See, Boston, to me, it will be like the Rangers where they kind of say we're retooling, but they'll never bottom out. They'll just find a way to kind of revamp.
But after Pasta, there's not much, for me to be like, ooh, look out. That's
Listen, I look at the Rangers lineup and I'm like, okay. And yet they're having the best season out of any team right now.
Panarin has like 100 and some points this year. He's been excellent for them. But yeah, I get your point that it's not like Fox is a legit number one guy.
Kendra Miller's getting better.
To all of
Trouba's
this
still a
conversation
power
is
guy.
that if you tear it down to the studs, it's really hard to build back up. I am against like the ridiculous teardowns. I like the idea of, you got to get worse for a little bit, but you can't trade every NHLer you have, and Chicago's done that, and San Jose. God, when's the Sharks going to be good? Like
never again.
Ever again? So Montreal has a long road back, but I don't think it's as long as the teams I was just talking about. But yeah, you're talking years till they're in playoffs. 2 more, 3 more?
Game time.
Let her rip, Sammy.
It's game time presented by Bet365. It's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Some good games tonight. The first thing I'm going to is Edmonton is in Dallas to take on the Stars. Connor McDavid currently has 97 assists heading into this game. If you want to bet on Connor McDavid to get to 100 assists tonight, 3+ assists for Connor McDavid. Guess what the number is?
It's probably like plus 150 or something.
It's plus 550.
Is it? Yeah.
Which is like,
I know, it's still
for
absurd.
any other player in the league,
Yeah,
that would be it'd be plus.
I bet you he has 23 assist games this year.
So if you want to bet on that tonight, you can get him to get the 3 assists to get to 100. Only the 4th guy ever, and we talked about it yesterday. It was Wayne, Mario Lemieux, and Bobby Orr were the only guys to ever do it. So if you want to get on that, There you go.
Were it not against Dallas, I might do that.
Well,
Okay.
that's just it.
Doesn't matter who it's against. It's Connor McDavid, boys.
I don't know. They're one of the hottest teams right now.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, they
They've
could
won
still
7 in a row.
they
The
could
Dallas
still
Stars.
lose, and he could still get 3 assists. Like it's Connor McDavid. So, anyways, I put that one out there.
Their goals against average. Dallas is giving up. They shut out Seattle.
Okay, yeah.
Vancouver gets 1 against them. Arizona, they gave up 2.
Okay,
Pittsburgh 2.
Can I ask you?
Arizona 2. LA 1.
Does Connor McDavid play for any of those teams?
Yeah. I get your point. Besides the one on top of your head right now.
Ottinger, if he comes around, Dallas is going to be different.
Yeah.
Dallas is going to be a tough.
Big matchup, Devils, Rangers. Are they going to fight tonight? Will his Rempe play anymore?
Please let us see it.
Yeah, I forgot about
Is
that.
Curtis McDavid? He was hurt when they last played.
I
the
would put
Leafs,
money on that one happening
That's
tonight.
happening tonight.
but the Devils are huge underdogs, as they should be, going into Madison Square Garden. They're plus 170. I wouldn't recommend betting that, but the Rangers are minus 205. I wish you could bet on a fight. And the last game I'll bring up is the one that's on nationally on Sportsnet, the Leafs and the Lightning. Minus 105 for the Lightning, minus 115 for the Leafs. Pretty even matchup here. They don't really have any idea.
I bet it
And
very
neither do I.
poorly, you told me. I took under
yeah.
6.5
Yeah.
in regulation. So 3-3, 4-2. And Sammy tells me it's the highest goal total between two teams in the year.
Yeah.
Their
they're-
games have been football games.
I think it's like the Leafs have 6.74 goals per game in theirs, and the Lightning have 6.72 goals per game in theirs.
Joel's going to lock it down.
Yeah, so Joe Wall tonight against the Lightning. All right, that was Game Time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 18 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Okay, where are we in the East wild card turtle race here?
Well, you can check sportsnet.ca for my article in which I broke this down in thorough description, including looking at every team situation.
Okay, without reading your article, and I will, I
You
promise
don't
you.
need to.
You wrote today that it has, without a doubt, it's the Washington Capitals to lose.
I did say something like that. I did say that it's in their hands. I talked to a couple people who run statistical models, push my glasses up my nose, and 90 points is the likely cutoff for playoffs in the East. 90, maybe 91, maybe 92, but likely 90 points. So the Capitals are already sitting there at, what are they, 82 points. You know, they've got 8 games left. Yeah, 8 games left. So they basically need to win 4 of the remaining 8 games to make playoffs. Not a huge ask.
Oshie is out, but Tom Wilson comes back.
Mm-hmm. Tom Wilson, did we get quotes from him or no?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Not very happy.
Tom Wilson made some comments about his slash on Gregor about how it wasn't a big deal until the media made it one. No one even.
No, we got to listen. We got to listen.
Okay, all right. Tom Wilson.
It's Tom Wilson on suspension. But
It's one of those things where it's tough. After the game, no one's really talking about it. It was honestly a complete accidental play, and coaches aren't talking about it. Media's not talking about it. Ref gave me a double minor, and then overnight with slow-mo and all that, next morning you wake up to a crazy amount of media, and it's one of those plays where it happens really quick. Obviously, I'm not trying to get him in the face there at all. He's a tough player. Tough part for me is, he doesn't miss a shift, and I'm gone for 6 games. It's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow when that's the case. It felt like a long time.
Did we do that game? Was that our game? Were we on the set?
Yes.
We were.
Yeah.
Craig Simpson didn't comment really heavy on it. Chris Cuthbert didn't. I don't think we did.
I did.
Think the media. I know you did.
I want to at least talk about suspend him.
I think you were. I think I do remember.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was media driven. Social media, if you want to say the swell there, led by Sammy.
Well,
okay, I'll give you that.
Hold on, though. It's a stupid thing to say. Doesn't matter who did it, who drove the whatever. You watch the video, you smack the guy in the face with your stick being a doofus.
Yeah, it's like the axe murderers with a bloody axe being like, I didn't mean to do it.
Well, if these guys hadn't pointed out that I did it, no one would have even said anything.
I don't.
But you did it. You donkey. God.
I love Tom Wilson.
It
but
could have.
this is not right.
I will say this, that it could have slid into accidentally on purpose category, which
The Trouba on
our league is
Frederick.
famous for.
Yeah, the Trouba on
Famous
Frederick,
for.
right? He was, whoops.
A ton of them have passed somehow, some way the smell test, and we've never really gone back on any of them. We just forget about it.
No, but this one was way more Zach
way more
Cashian on
because
Sam Gagner.
It's way more because it's Tom Wilson.
Sure, and that's not an irrelevant point.
That's you could take away accidentally. It was on purpose. He looked at him and ripped it around and slashed him in the face.
Yeah,
like it was
I'm
an
so
on
glad
purpose
you
play.
can make that distinct conclusion on your couch eating a bag of Dorito
just because
chips.
He plays at North Toronto Arena, Kyper, doesn't mean he didn't mean to slash him in the face.
Well,
okay?
and also, it's
he
like
slashed him in the face. It was on purpose.
if the axe murderer has murdered 6 people, then accidentally murders one, we're going to be like, I think that might have been on purpose. They're picking up a pattern here with this gentleman.
Like I said,
Okay, I'm not winning this.
like I said, love the guy. There was times where I would have traded lots of guys on the lease for him, but this was on purpose.
Would you trade Nylander for him?
There was many times where I would have considered it. Yes, maybe not now, but maybe. No, I wouldn't.
Maybe.
Is this the time in our program where we just give
It's towards time.
2.5 minutes to Torts?
Yeah. You know, here's the thing today. Everyone doesn't know how to feel or react to Torts because one day he's the, stray dog loving guy, and the next day he's the meanie who's an emotional bully. And today this is being shared by all sorts of people whose opinion I value as, look at this clip. Look at John Tortorella, the leadership here. People love this clip today, Kip.
Do you want? Yeah, let's hear the clip.
It always comes down to, right? It always comes down, they're going to quit on him. It follows me around. And so be it. If a player's going to quit on me or players are going to quit on me because I'm trying to make them better people and better athletes, you got the wrong damn coach here and you got the wrong damn people here. So I'm not sure what goes on. My job is I am going to push athletes. And I try to stay away from I have other things on my mind that I don't give you. I was in control the other night. What I said I meant. And quite honestly, when I watch the tape now, I'm more concerned than just the second period. Because I'm so proud of the team getting here. And I guess now the narrative out there is, because I've heard from other people, that they're young, they're not supposed to be here. Bullshit. We're here. We're here. Face it. And let's be better. And I don't think we're ready to be better. And that's my problem with us right now. And it is my job. I have not done a good enough job to get them over the hump after playing those 7 games. And then each game as it goes down, we have 6 left. I haven't done a good enough job to make them understand we have to be different now. We have to be at a different level. That's my frustration with me, and that's my frustration with the team. And if people can't handle it, so be it.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
You might as well just be like, me.
People love this today, Sammy. People love this today.
I.
He's been around for such a long time because it's not, most often with this guy, it's not what he says. It's how he says it, when he says it, and what are the personal agendas around it. Like it's very complex.
Yeah.
And he's saying all the right things on so many occasions.
That time. Yep.
And right there, there's nothing I don't disagree with him.
I know. That's why everyone's sharing it out. Is this, like
Right?
I said, this wonderful, what do you call it, monologue or
But
soliloquy.
he also buys into, this is the only way I'm going to get them to the place. And
He's like, that nail looks like it needs a hammer. So does that glass jar.
there could be other ways. There could be other ways in the year 2024 where you don't have to browbeat beat your players.
Listen, I want to say, I like what he had to say there. I agree with the idea of pushing guys. I even like the idea of being honest about where they are, where he says we're not ready to be better, and it's frustrating that I haven't got us to a place where I feel like we're ready to be better. That's all fine. But it comes in the context of all the previous things he said, which are sometimes about himself. Sometimes it's too much. Today he gets the tone right. But he is still the guy, to Sam's point, that we're talking about every single day. And I just, would the Flyers not be better if they were just in their bunker of a dressing room? He was coaching them and just it wasn't a story every day. John Tortorella and the Flyers failing. He is shining the spotlight so bright on their failings, he's making it harder.
Wow, that is extremely well said.
Well, it's a lot for a young team.
He's been around for forever, right?
Yeah.
20 years. I'm telling you, the one that I will scratch my head isn't Torts racing into Calgary's dressing room to beat up everybody.
I forgot about that one.
That ain't it.
Yeah.
You know what it'll be? How do you, as a group, pick a captain and then a month later bail on him? Yeah. That one I'll never understand.
It's a dumb league.
Okay? I will never understand that.
So here's what I've talked to you about this, and I think you think he didn't make that choice.
I think he's got such a big voice there that I think ownership can look at Comcast, and it is right up there with Keith Jones and Daniel Briere.
Really?
Yes. I don't think he falls underneath them. So I cannot believe that Sean Couturier wouldn't have some sort of blessing from him.
Yeah.
So why would you bail on him? And I'm okay with a captain being scratched, but I'm not okay about a captain being scratched when 4 weeks ago you're telling the hockey world that this is our leader now. That's not enough time for me for Torts to bail on Sean Couturier. Bench him, take away his ice time, bring him down to 12, 13 minutes. But
he's been down there.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
That one bothered me a lot, and I think it's had a domino effect on everything else.
Listen to Couturier's ice times. January, he's 20 minutes. He's 20:35 the next month. Then in March, he's 15:45. This month, he's 13:12. Last game, he played 3:21. I don't know if he got hurt, but the games prior, 11:10, 11:10.
That's your leader?
Yeah.
Who picked this guy?
And if it's Torts, that's not great, right? That's a pretty big flip from a pretty important decision to declare a guy your captain. So
You've neutered him in the room.
they only have 6 games left, the Flyers. They're at 83 points. They're at 47% to 52%, depending what site you use, chance of making the playoffs now.
Just to bookend our show with some Blue Jays stuff.
Yes.
Lineups tonight, out for tonight in Houston. David Schneider not in the lineup tonight.
Not in the lineup.
Not in the lineup.
You heard himself celebrating?
No, he's just not playing.
Healthy scratch.
Yeah, this is just a
Mustache is on IR.
This is a very touchy subject amongst Blue Jays fans, but he doesn't play all the time.
Why?
Does he?
Doesn't like the khakis don't like him against righties.
Did he say that he doesn't like high fastballs?
Yeah, he did say that. But the thing is,
Maybe he loves it. He's wants him.
John Schneider, whoever pumped out the computer, they typed it into a lineup and it went bzzz, and it printed it out, and David Schneider didn't make the cut. So.
That's tough.
After he hits a go-ahead
Game-saving
bomb,
jack.
season-saving homer, according to Kyper.
Our thanks. Yeah, season saving. Our thanks to Hall of Famer Dave Andreychuk in the first hour of our show, and then PJ Stock hit it out of the park.
Yes.
Love it.
Saved our season.
Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy your games. Give us a rating and review if you get a chance. We'd love to hear from you. Enjoy your games, and we're back tomorrow, but not Friday.
No Friday.
Darn Blue Jays. Okay. Have a good one, everybody.